Happy New Year, everyone. I am drinking a nondescript, non-branded lager because am I hell giving anyone free advertising? This is the end of year party! Woo! What a year it's been.
It has been, I would say a long year, but it's flown by, to be honest.
Do you really think so?
I think so, yeah.
See, I think the last couple of months have definitely flown by. It's just how much we've had to try and get through before Doctor Who came back to our screens. You know?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's been the longest drought, second longest drought we've had of the revival.
Well, I mean, it's the longest one since it came back.
Yeah.
In terms of pure days between episodes. But this isn't going to cover things like we did a 60th anniversary wrap-up. This is just the year in general. And the plan was we're going to do this every year going forward when there's hopefully a bit more to talk about in between. But we've had sort of news has come thick and fast in some places and then very, very slow and quiet in others. So I've compiled a few different things from announcements throughout the year and stuff. I'm just going to talk about them, how we feel about them now compared to how we've talked about them in the past and everything. Sort of go from there, really. They're not necessarily, they're in a rough order. And by rough, I mean they're the order that I sort of remembered them. But we're just going to go through it. So, first off, near the start of the year, we had some casting news that Gemma Redgrave was back in Doctor Who, which we now have seen her anyway. Because at the time, we just knew that she was back for Series 14, which we're still calling it 14 at the time. It's actually Series 1 next year. We also had Aneurin Barnard cast as Roger Ap Gwilym.
Yes.
Or Gwilym. Gwilym. Gwilym's just, I just made that up, haven't I?
Yeah, it's Gwilym.
But yeah, so we obviously know, Gemma's back as Kate, but this Aneurin Barnard was, I think there's a lot of speculation about him being some sort of politician, maybe, some sort of having some kind of influence over people. There was a lot of, way back at the start of the year, I spotted a bit of the filming on a walk through Cardiff, and it seemed to be a bit of like a party, like a political party conference kind of thing. Could be completely wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, he's got mostly a theatre background more than anything.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing that. Yeah, I've not seen him in anything, to be fair.
No.
Because looking at him from the photo of him that was released as the character, it's a very stern pose. It's very serious looking.
Yeah, I think in the snippet it's when Shooty's is another historical one.
Yeah, it could be. It might not even be an Earth-based thing. We never know.
This is very true.
Completely wrong.
This is very true. We then go on and I can't remember how soon after, but Murray Gold came back.
About April time.
Yeah,
roughly.
Yeah, Murray Gold came back, and my God,
I think what I like about the fact that we've got Murray Gold back is not that. It could have been quite easy for him to just come back and just use the same sort of music that he was doing before. But it's different, but it's still very Murray Gold.
Yeah, I mean, there's snippets of his old stuff in there, sure.
Through this, and you sort of expect that with the 60s, especially with David Tennant and Catherine Tate being back. You sort of expect that to happen. And the new stuff, though, sounds really good. Like we were talking in our Church on Ruby Road review that you would have seen yesterday or day before. The new theme for the 15th Doctor is really
brilliant.
Really good. I think it's genuinely my favourite theme now.
Yeah.
I've heard it and seen it in action. I liked it when it was on the concert because that was the other thing with the Murray Gold coming back. We had a full-on concert for music, and it wasn't just his music. It was some of Sega Akinola stuff. It was some stuff from the classic era, all to celebrate the 60th anniversary, which we didn't get tickets for.
No, we didn't. We did try, but you couldn't buy them, which was rather sad.
Yeah, it was a lottery, and it was just roll of the dice, and the dice did not roll our way.
No,
but that's life. But no, I'm glad to have Murray Gold back. There was a bit of a concern, I think, at the time of the fact, is this just getting the old guard back in to save the show? But I think there's enough new stuff in there that you can sort of really just go, no.
This is still...
Yes, they're the same people, but they're doing very new things, but things that feel still quite familiar in a way.
Yeah, it is. You think Murray Gold when you think Doctor Who, especially if you were brought up on the revival.
No, exactly. Speaking of new, though, I'm going to have to pass this over to you because we had the cross-media, multi-platform event that was Doomsday, following on from the success of Time Lord Victorious back in 2020, I think it was. And for those of you who didn't see any of it, you know, fair enough. It's a story that revolves around the universe's greatest assassin called Doom, and she is basically being tracked by Death. and she's got to find the Doctor, whichever Doctor that might be. And I think there was audios, there was books, comics, tie-ins to like mobile games and stuff. You read some of them, didn't you?
I read one of them because it came with a copy of Doctor Who magazine.
How was it?
It was a very small story. I didn't really care for it that much.
It wasn't enough to get you to go and buy the other stuff.
It weren't enough for me to go and buy the other stuff. Some people I have said really enjoyed it. I have seen, sorry, but it weren't for me personally. So
it seemed it was weird because it was presented in quite a child-friendly, like family thing, but it's about an assassin being hunted by the embodiment of death. And I think with that there's a mistake because these things are going to cost money. You've got to buy lots of different... It's not like, you sort of pick up these different things through, if they've been stuff released on YouTube and then on Twitter and then on like TikTok or then iPlayer and stuff like that. Things that people have regularly got access to. The Big Finish box set alone was like 30 quid. The comics are, a good few quid an issue. The books and I think I read the first like prologue thing that was on the BBC website. But that was it. It never was anything that sucked me into it. Even Time Lord Victorious, I was like, oh, I might get around to it eventually, and just never did.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't even check what came with the issue I bought. I just remember it was... I believe it was talking about David Tennant coming back shortly after.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it was around then.
I remember that.
Yes, it was around the stuff where the magazine was like Tennant and Tate focused. And I wanted the posters in it. I wanted some of the other freebies that came with it. So I got it. I didn't even realise it came with this magazine in it. And I was just like, oh. I gave it a quick glance. I read through it fully and I was just like, well, I'm not going to go and buy the rest of this because it's just...
Yeah, didn't really grab a lot. And I think there was a lot of, the trailers that were put out and the sort of links that were on the social media about like, this is now out kind of thing. Like, or my next hour. Because each story was an hour across one day, wasn't it? And... yeah, it wasn't great. I mean, it looked pretty terrible from like CGI wise and green screens, and I know it was all done on the cheap and everything, but I think it was Suze Kempner, I think, is the actress that was behind Doom, and yeah, she didn't sell it to me. Not to be too negative, it just wasn't really for me. But speaking of Doctor Who magazine, they have given us some lovely posters recently. I mean, the wall is getting. That was SFX, to be fair. I think that's from one of the comics. But we've got this lovely one.
These two as well.
Yeah. Not to mention, we haven't actually done a shout out of this. This was done by my dad. A few people have asked about this in the comment, and it's absolutely brilliant. I love it. I know I'm biased and bound to say that, but find someone else that can draw a time-space visualizer when there aren't any really front shots of the thing. So, yeah, thanks, Dad.
Yeah, no, honestly, that is brilliant. So, thank you very much.
Yeah. Back to our little news roundup then. We had some more casting. With the casting, these were like a few days apart with each one. We had Jonathan Groff, Jinx Monsoon, and Indira Varma joining. Now, Indira Varma is interesting because she was obviously in Torchwood, and she's been in everything. Indira Varma's always on the telly, but she's been announced to be playing a character called the Duchess, who we've now seen in the trailer looks like to be in the same episode as Jonathan Groff. It's that sort of very Regency era looking one.
Yeah, no, that's who I was on about with Norrin Bernard. It's Jonathan Groff. I'm getting them two mixed up.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Groff is a very good actor, to be fair. He's in, I think the thing I've seen him most as an actor in would be Mindhunter, which I have only seen the first series of, but he's very good in it. He's also very musically talented. I think he's had some awards. He's done a lot of stuff on like theatre. He's done Frozen, Glee. And Jinx Monsoon is also quite musical and has done, I think, a couple of different shows and things, and is famous for... Did she win Drag Race?
I believe she did.
The American one? Or she was definitely on that. I don't know if she won. I think she won it.
She did. I believe she done well, if not win. But from what we see of her in the... and we don't really see much of her in the advert for the new series, but she's going to be in there. Her outfit looks decent. It looks like she's going to be playing some form of villain.
Yeah, it's all very like, piano motifs down the collar of the costume. I think from what we can see, we could be completely wrong. Again, this is just sort of predicting, but she seems to be in the second episode, which is the Beatles episode with Abbey Road and everything. So maybe she's using music or something to try and get at the Doctor, and the Beatles get involved. Could be interesting. I think we are going to get a musical episode, though, with that.
Yeah,
I think, to be fair, a musical episode is only really the only thing I can think of that Doctor Who hasn't really done genre-wise.
No, I mean, they've done a little song and dances here and there, but...
Yeah, but I think they're definitely gearing up to it, especially with the fact that you've got Ncuti Gatwa and Millie Gibson, who have got pretty decent voices. Not they're not winning any
They're not-
what do you
yeah.
call the music awards again?
I was about to say BAFTAs, but it's not.
Music NMAs? No. Brit Awards. That's what I
That
meant.
one, yeah.
But they can both hold a note pretty well. And I always prefer it when you just get the actors who are there to sing, because it'd be quite easy sometimes to just dub over it, and that would feel a bit too cheap.
Especially if you have to ask them, if you ask them to do the song in real life, and then they're like, well,
Yeah.
funny story, that wasn't me.
But I think, apart from sort of like a full-on like gory horror thing, which Doctor Who wouldn't do because of the audience, I think a musical is the only thing they haven't done. We've had comedies, we've had historical biography, we had full-on like heartbreaking episodes, we've had psychological thrillers, that sort of thing. I think a musical is really the only thing that's happened. And like so many other shows have done musical episodes. I mean, Buffy really sort of set the ball rolling back in the early noughties, but Xena had done it before. I think other shows have done them, even stuff like Grey's Anatomy and Scrubs. It goes across all different genres of TV, so why not do a Doctor Who musical? I think not all the time,
Yeah,
but
just
as
like
a
a
one-off, I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, especially as you said, especially when you got talented actors who can sing.
Yeah, 100%. So after that, we had more casting. Now, one of these we've already sort of seen, but we weren't expecting to at the time. But we was announced that Bonnie Langford was coming back
Yes.
as Mel, and was then seen zipping around Cardiff on a moped with Shooty Gatwa, or at least being pulled along on a moped that was probably more stable than it was. And we were all a bit surprised that Mel was coming back. I don't really think anybody had that on their bingo cards.
No, and then we did get to see her back in the 60th anniversary as well. So we got to see her earlier than I think people were expecting.
Yeah.
Which was nice, unless you had it spoiled.
spoiled.
But no, it was a really welcome surprise, to be honest, to see her back. Obviously, it did get leaked that she was back, and they had to release it because someone had posted a picture online, so it kind of forced the BBC's hand.
I think that's the kind of thing, because of just the level of public filming, because they were in like the heart of Cardiff, coming down the steps of the building by Central Train Station. They were all by the student union, the Cardiff Union Cateys as well. So it was going to get out at some point or another. So it just makes sense for them to build a bit of a. And then I think that also helped with people that knew she was going to be next year. When you see her this year, it's like, oh, whoa, that's cool. Because I think if she'd just been in the giggle, I think we said this at the time, it would have felt a little bit.
She didn't seem to have that much to do with it. It just kind of felt like a cheap little pay. Like,
yeah, it was definitely more of a cameo thing, but she had enough to do in terms of she had that nice reunion with the Doctor, and she sits down with him when he's about to regenerate or bigenerate, as it turned out. But it would have felt, I think, if that was just about all we were getting, it would have been like, wow, is that it? But knowing that she was coming back for more,
you're not so fussed about that, because you get more of a.
No, exactly.
And then the announcement as well that Lenny Rush is going to be in the new series too.
Yeah, Lenny Rush is an interesting choice because he's only about 15?
14, 15, yeah.
15.
And he hosts one of the hosts as well. I think he was the youngest host of Children in Need.
I think he's the first ever child to present Children in Need.
Yeah.
But he's got such a presence as like a performer. I've not seen him act properly. I know he's in that program that Daisy May Cooper did, which I can't for the life of me remember what it's called, because I haven't actually seen it yet. I keep meaning to, because I love this country that that Daisy May Cooper did before that. But I've seen him present plenty of stuff, and I've seen him pop up in other things. He's got he's very likable when you watch him. Usually you get sort of child actors, they can be a bit like, oh, you're sweet, but you're a bit annoying. But he's got a proper presence, and I think they said he was playing. They gave his character name, but I forgot to write it down.
Remember.
Morris. Was it Morris or something?
Morris, yeah, that rings a bell.
Yeah, and he's on he's wearing like a suit, and he sort of could see maybe be some sort of like consultant to unit or something, maybe it's something completely different where he's some sort of scientist or like genius kid.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be blooming well off with his career the way he's going now.
He's good at what he does, to be fair.
Yeah, he's very good, to be fair, so you can't fault that. No.
Then we have the Sonic Screwdriver, which we did do that was our first ever, and at this point only, unboxing video so far.
Yes.
An unboxing where we nearly had to call an ambulance because you were about to take your fingers off with a pair of scissors.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that.
It was funny though, but
yeah.
That really grew on me. That 40, because we're talking about the 14th Doctor Screwdriver here. That really grew on me, because at the time I was like, it's all right, it's fine, it's okay. But looking at it in action and everything, it really looks like a proper sonic screwdriver, and it's got all the iconography in it. And there's a lot of hints of previous Sonics beforehand as well.
Yeah. No, it was really nice. I mean, I felt it was rather overpowered. In like, essentially, he could just build himself a force field whenever he wanted to.
Yeah. I'm glad they only did that the once though.
Yeah, and it was nice. It was nice though to see him use it as like make a display screen come up with it. So we actually kind of get an idea of why the hell they keep looking at their screwdriver. You see it with Matt Smith as well. He whips it open and looks at the core. Yeah. Jodie Whittaker just looks at the side.
And there's never anything there to actually show what it is they're looking at.
So it's nice for the audience to have something to be like, oh, okay, so this is roughly what they're seeing anyways.
Yeah, it makes it a bit more, it connects it a bit more to the audience. It's sort of, it's not just the Doctor going, yes, this is this and this and this and this, because you don't know. But no, I like that screwdriver. And the toy was really cool. I don't want to say toy because I know it upsets some people, but the
collectible.
The replica. Was a proper, it was really nice. It did. What made me laugh is how long it took us to figure out how to change the colours and the sound effects and everything. That was embarrassingly long. It was about, I sped it up to like a funny little comedic like fast forward sound effect. It was about 5 minutes of us just playing around with it, and I thought no one's going to sit here and watch it, so we'll just fast forward that up to, to the end.
Oh, it was good fun. I still have it. I still play with it. To be fair,
well, I would.
I'm a child.
That's what they're there for, isn't it?
Yeah,
Can't
exactly.
Just keep them on a shelf.
Whenever I get woken up rudely, I just go off.
Your poor mother.
She knows better to wake me up early. I don't like it, especially on days off.
She's put a roof over your head. She keeps you fed, and that's how you repay.
Keep myself fed.
Don't worry, Tom's mum. I'm here. I was about to say a name, but I didn't.
Yeah, no, we don't need to. We do not need to go down that one. And then I believe there was some more announcements, yes.
From writers. And we had... Now, this is quite interesting, because we know all the directors for Series 1/14, but we don't know any of the writers other than Russell T Davies until this announcement, where we had an episode that was going to be co-written by Kate Herron and Bryony Redman. Now, Bryony Redman, I don't know that much about. I know she's been a writer for a few other things and a couple of short films and stuff. But Kate Herron, very famously, was the showrunner, essentially, for the first series of Loki on Disney+, which was the best thing Marvel put out on Disney+, I think.
Yeah.
By quite a mile.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed Moon Knight as well, to be fair. That was good.
Moon Knight was good. I just think there was something about Loki, and it felt very Doctor Who-y in a way, like the to do with time and everything and meeting yourself and all that. There was definitely some Doctor Who elements to it. And I think she will bring an element of that to Doctor Who.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big payoffs as well with having the Disney collaboration with Doctor Who.
Yeah, there's probably definitely some phone numbers been passed around there and stuff, maybe.
I'd like to think so, because there have been some really good writers over at that Disney are keeping employed by buying everything out under the sun.
Yeah, and there's definitely a benefit to having a bigger pool of talent that you can draw from as well. You haven't got the same old people all the time, which is something I did, appreciate with the Chris Chibnall era, is that we had a lot of different and a lot of new writers. I mean, the only returning writer from any other era in Chris Chibnall's time was Chris Chibnall. Everyone else had never written for the show before.
Yeah.
Written in very, we had Mallory Blackman co-write one, and she's a, award-winning novelist. We had other people that hadn't really done as much. I think before Doctor Who, I could be getting this completely wrong, but who co-wrote Village of the Angels and Via Diodati? It was
I don't know.
Maxine Alderton. I don't know if it was here, but there was someone in that series had only written for like Emmerdale and stuff before. I'm not sure if it was here. It could have been one of the other writers, but bringing in new talent is what Doctor Who is very good at, and should continue to do. And I think if you fall into the same old people all the time, it can get quite tired. And it's a show that thrives on change at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's constantly changing. Otherwise, it wouldn't be still here after 60 years.
No, exactly.
So, I mean, the whole first regeneration came about because of a need for change, because William Hartnell wasn't well enough to continue. So, yeah. Yeah,
no, there was, change is good, and I think new writers, I'd still like to know, I think we can probably safely say that Russell T Davies are doing, at very least, we know he's doing episode 4, because he's already said he's written a scene in that's one of the best things he's ever written. We know he's doing, I can imagine he'll probably do the first one and the last 2, at least. So that's 4 slots. If Bryony and Kate are doing 5, that leaves 3 other slots. Do you have any writers, whether they've written for Doctor Who or not, that you would like to see do one?
I don't know. I don't really know a lot of writers, to be honest. So I wouldn't know. I'd imagine Russell's going to be taking a couple of those slots that remain in.
Well, there's only 3, I reckon. If it's an 8-episode series, and I think doing 4 and giving the other 4 to other people is probably the best way of doing it. Maybe I don't know, but it's been heavily rumored for a while now, and this isn't like leaks or anything. This is just sort of people going, "This is probably going to happen, isn't it?" That Stephen Moffat will come back and do one.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind that because some of his stories were good.
I mean, Stephen Moffat's a great writer. I don't think he was a particularly strong showrunner, especially post 50th.
Yeah, it was when he was first under the Russell T Davies era, the first one. His episodes were great in that.
Yeah, they
were. But
were.
then he didn't have the stress of running the show on top of writing episodes as well.
Yeah, and I think coming back and
like A Christmas Carol was written because he was stuck somewhere. I think it was California or something.
It was when the Iceland volcano were up there, wasn't it?
So he just sat in his hotel room, put the air conditioning on, sat there and wrote the blooming thing. And it's a great story. Really good.
Cracking story.
So he can write. It's just I think whether you had the stress of being a showrunner on top of that, and you got
plus he was doing Sherlock as well.
Yeah, he had a lot on his plate at the time, which I did think did impact some of the stories post 50th.
I think impacted both Doctor Who and Sherlock because I don't think that last series of Sherlock is particularly strong.
No,
and I think,
not as strong as the other 3.
Yeah, the first 3 are really good. That 4th one not so much, but yeah, I think Moffat coming back to do one would be very welcomed. I think just because. Again, it'd be interesting to see what his take on Doctor Who would be now, 15 years, well, not 15 years, but 10 years later, just under, after he's gone away and done other stuff, and he comes back to Doctor Who. Is he going to tell us similar, are we going to get another sort of scary thing off him? Are we going to get more of a comedy-driven thing? Who knows?
An emotional-driven thing, you never know.
Could be.
His emotional stories were good.
Yeah, we have some more rumours, though.
We do.
Because we have
spin-offs.
Things we've talked about. I mean, we talked about spin-offs a while ago. I mean, it's one of the first videos that we did was talking about what spin-offs we do, and we've had 3 really that have been quite fairly strongly rumoured, and that's the obvious one, which is a unit spin-off. Led by Gemma Redgraves with Kate, and probably I imagine Shirley and Mel maybe.
Maybe get Donna in there as well now that she's been offered a job.
Yeah, could do. I think it'd be quite interesting to maybe, if you're going to do a unit spin-off, you have your core characters, and then maybe every so often you tackle something that a previous companion has dealt with, and you could say, I don't know, have
Martha.
Off the top of my head, have an Ood that's crashed on Earth, and you go, right, well, we know that Donna knows about the Ood, let's get Donna in a consultancy form, or you maybe have, I don't know, the Jadoon, and Martha's met the Jadoon, and you bring Martha in as a consultant. Although I would like to see Martha there full time, but it probably won't happen.
No, but no, I'd like that. Keep Yaz away from it for a bit, because don't really need to see her back. But I wouldn't mind seeing Dan, just for more evil Dan memes. Because that happened this year. Well, last year.
That's happened since 2021 when Dan first appeared on the programme.
Yeah. Nobody needs soup more than me.
From Birmingham now, is he?
I can't do Scouse.
Maybe, you have a series-long thread running through it, but have a couple of episodes that you can bring in other people, and even people from the classic series. I think, that's a really good way of, because it's such an easy way now with Kate being like, I'm going to recruit you all for some work at some point. You bring in any past companions, so,
bring Jo Grant back.
Yeah.
Like, it was a nice little cameo for her at the end of Power of the Doctor, but I wouldn't mind seeing more of her.
No, exactly. I think, especially now that she's really only her and Sergeant Bent, I suppose, are the only people from the proper golden age of unit in the 70s. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? The other one, which was rumoured, was an anthology series all around the Doctor's foes. Now, I don't know if this is the same as the next one, which we'll get into, but I think an anthology series would be quite interesting to look at how the Daleks or Cybermen or whatever work when the Doctor isn't there. Because we've had many times where the Doctor's met them and all, it's very much a similar thing, but what are they like? Because Big Finish does this quite well in stuff like the War Master series, and you see how the Daleks work in the time when the Doctor isn't there, and how much more they seem like more of a threat, because, when the Daleks are there and the Doctor's there, that the day is saved,
It's just a matter of how and when.
We know the Daleks are brutal, and if we don't know, we could have a cast of characters and have a Rogue One scenario where they're not going to make it out alive, and have a big old action sort of set piece, so...
Yeah, no, I'd happily watch that, to be honest.
And I think it's a good way of bringing back the sort of iconic villains, but not necessarily into the main show.
Yeah, no, right now, because I mean we've seen a lot of Cybermen and Daleks, and we've had a lot of the Master over the last few years. I'm quite happy to let them take a back burner.
Yeah, have some
For
new
now.
monsters and stuff. I don't think
Yeah.
that would be an issue at all.
Yeah,
I think
by all
that-
means bring them back, because obviously Russell said the gold Dalek is gone, so
Yeah.
they're gonna have to address that, because he's not said the Daleks themselves are gone. They're gonna have to
Well, he has
introduce
said
that.
that he's sort of resting them for a bit. He says that they don't need to be there every year.
No,
Because I think the Daleks are so ingrained in public consciousness. You could have the Daleks not be in it for 5 or 6 years, and they come back, and people are still going to be interested. No one's going to forget about the Daleks, are they?
no,
I'd like to see some more classic series monsters and enemies come back. Ones we haven't necessarily seen. I mean, we talked about that in another video. I think the Mara would be such a cool idea to bring back.
yeah, and they could, with the CGI as well, and with the Disney money, my God, they could do really good work with that.
Yeah, exactly. And like Fenric would be another good one, especially now that we're dealing with gods and fantastical things from the edge of the universe and things. Fenric is such an obvious choice to bring back.
Yeah,
And I think maybe that might have something to do with Mrs. Flood. Maybe she's possessed by Fenric.
who knows? But
That's
you
my
could also
take.
have the Routons.
Yeah, the
Rutons.
Rutons can come back and again, I've only really been in it once.
Yeah, it was Curse of Fang Rock, wasn't it?
Horror Fang.
Horror
yeah.
Fang Rock. So I get Curse of Fang Rock and Curse of Fenric. I
They're
always
quite similar to each
yeah.
other. I mean, Sutex are a good one as well. Get Gabriel Wolf back to do the voice. I'm just looking at the poster behind me for some inspiration. And that's a lot of Wirren.
Get Yeti back.
Yeah.
We've done enough with the Ice Warriors. I think that they've kind of been.
I don't think the Ice Warrior outings in the new series have been particularly strong.
No, I think the one was Skaldek. I forget the
Cold War was
Cold
the
War.
one on the submarine.
Yeah, that one. I think that wasn't a bad episode, but it kind of downplayed the threat that is the Ice Warriors.
Yeah, because I think a lot of the time we're so used to the Ice Warriors being in the armour, and I think doing something different is fine, but when you've got to bring the Ice Warriors back and establish them to a new audience,
You keep them in their armor and you give them an army.
yeah, even if you just have the one and you're sort of trying to deal with it and reason with it on the ship and whatever, that's fine. But it was very much trying to do it was almost trying to combine Dalek as in the episode and then with Alien but on a submarine in the Cold War.
This is why I preferred. I mean, I preferred Empress of Mars from as well, because it gave the Ice Warriors a bit more to do, and
It was a bit more backstory, I think.
Yeah,
in
there was-
terms of the Ice Queen and it fleshed them out character wise a bit.
yeah, I think it did character wise. It did them a lot better than Cold War did. But yeah, we don't need to see them back anytime soon. Crititane, would you be down for that again?
I think so. I think you just have to figure out stuff like the Crititane. They're very monster of the week in terms of their abilities and their backstory and whatever. So, would that be something that you just repeat, or will you try and do something different with it? You've got to try and do something different. But then, if you do something different, is there any point in bringing them back if you can't really expand on them? I think you just have to wait and see.
No, this is true. So I was looking at some of the old designs of the Cybermen up there on the calendar.
There are some nice Cybermen over there.
Yeah, sorry.
We had another announcement which was very off the cuff that Nicola Cogan, she's an North Irish actress from Northern Ireland and is very famous for playing roles in Derry Girls and Bridgerton. Now she's not in it until Christmas next year. Why would they announce this now? Is it because, do you reckon, people keep stalking film crews
I think it might be
and
that.
going, hey, look who I've just spotted, even though I'm not really meant to supposed to, and common decency says let's not leak this and put this out in the world, forcing the BBC to literally corner poor Nicola on the corner of a set and have it basically just stick a phone in her face and go, just say your name and that you're in Doctor Who. And she's like, oh, I'm Nicola and I'm in Doctor Who next year. Can't wait.
Yeah.
It's so unnecessary. I get it. I get it's exciting when you walk past and you see Doctor Who filming, or it's filming something, you go and have a look, see if you get an autograph or something. And that all came about because a certain account that will remain nameless for now, but I'm sure any of you who know what we're talking about probably know who we're talking about, was filming the monitors of the cameras. As in, not just filming on the set from a dodgy angle or a bit far away, filming exactly what was going to be on the telly, over a year in advance. We hadn't even seen the 60th by that point, and you're social
why?
for Christmas 2024.
Why
Stop it.
Why? There is no need to just leak all that. To be fair.
Yeah, I get it's exciting. I did it. I'm guilty of it when I was walking past one day. I took a couple of pictures and was like, oh, look, I've just seen this. This is really cool. But I didn't go, like, trying to stalk the crew or whatever and try and film monitors and stuff. And there are certain people I genuinely don't know how they haven't received a cease and desist letter.
Yeah.
Genuinely, it blows my mind.
It does baffle me, to be honest.
Because they're there at every shoot, regardless of where they are. Even the shoots down by my hometown in West Wales, they're down there. And it's like, come on now, stop. It's stalking. How would you feel if you turned up to work every day? You work in different locations and stuff. Imagine I was there every day and you hadn't told me. I was just like filming you working.
Yeah, I'd be uncomfortable.
It's weird.
As hell.
It's
Yeah.
really weird.
I'd be getting a restraining order for sure.
And I just we all know I'm having a bad experience with leaks and things this year, not just with that, but the stuff about the bi-generation and the Christmas special and things like that. And there's a lot of people that have been blocked and muted by myself on Twitter because I just don't want to see it. I want to see Doctor Who when it's on.
Yeah.
A couple of pictures here and there going, wow, look at this is happening down there. And, where they're a bit far away and you can't really tell what's going on. Like, someone took a picture of Shooty Gatwa, like, walking out the TARDIS. I'm like, wow, that's not a spoiler. I assumed at some point he's going to walk out of the TARDIS.
And it's like with the 60th stuff, you see that in Coventry, in London, in Coventry or Camden, same thing. There's that scene in the alleyway of the TARDIS with Catherine Tate and David Tennant. Obviously, after they've been announced that they're going to be on it, that's fine. Just be like, oh, look what I run into when I was walking around Camden today.
Camden's not exactly like the arse end of nowhere. It's like, it's the middle of London, really.
Yeah, exactly. And just be like, oh, okay, if you get a glimpse of the TARDIS or something, like nothing spoiler based, by all means post it. But when you're getting spoilers and forcing the BBC's hand into announcing stuff that they don't necessarily want to announce and want to be a surprise, or let them announce it in their own time.
Well, I'm sure they probably had an announcement for her much closer to the time. It was a bit of like a buzz to get people interested. Oh, this actress that you've liked in these things, she's in Doctor Who at Christmas this year. Exciting, right? No, we'll just have someone else leak it, and it's leaks in general. Like there's stuff with the 60th. There were whole lines of dialogue that I knew because someone had shown them me and gone, "Hey, look at this. Do you want to see this?" No, not really.
Yeah.
The whole bit with the mallet, where Shooty's whacking the mallet with the TARDIS, and there's whole lines of dialogue, and even explaining, he hits the TARDIS, and they all look to the left as if, obviously CG and the other TARDIS and all that. It's like, I'll see it when it's on.
Yeah.
If I wanted to see everything leaked, I just wouldn't bother watching it. Do you know what I mean? I just start stalking film crews and everything.
Yeah. But moving on from that rant, we have got to take a bit of a somber note and talk about those who are no longer with us.
There's been, not a great deal in terms of like regular cast. I mean, we have just lost Richard Franklin like on Christmas Day, which is quite sad. He had been ill for quite a while, and I think he's one of the sort of founding members of that unit family from the Pertwee era. He's there from Pertwee second series right to the end of his era. We have lost a lot of notable guest stars as well. I mean, Michael Gambon died earlier in the year. I mean, not necessarily known for Doctor Who, but very well known to people of sci-fi and fantasy because he's played Dumbledore for...
Yeah. Obviously, he played Dumbledore, and he played Kazaran in A Christmas Carol.
Yeah, many other roles as well. Michael Gambon's one of the, it's a very prestigious career, really, in terms of acting. Another, we had Doreen Mantle. She was only in one episode of Sarah Jane Adventures, but is known to lots of people for her recurring role in One Foot in the Grave, where she's absolutely hysterical as Mrs. Warboys. And, we've lost a lot of people, and there's a lot of people that can cover this better, because Toby Haydock's In Memoriam will probably be out by now, and that's far better research than we could ever do. But, we thought it wouldn't really be right to do a retrospective without mentioning a couple of names here, those that are quite personal to us in terms of, these are people we're very familiar with and their work and everything. So,
yeah,
Godspeed, and raise a drink to them. Yeah, you know, have a drink.
Yeah. Well, I do have a drink. It's just I haven't got it in a glass because we're not giving out free publicity. So
sponsor us and we'll drink whatever you like. Well, within reason.
Yes, please, within reason.
And then we had New Doctor Who, which we've reviewed all 4 episodes now of this series, plus a bit of a wrap up for the 60th. But overall, I think some issues here and there, but overall, pretty much a return to form that we've been looking for a while.
Absolutely solid, yeah. I think the only reason the Christmas episode was the not even worse. It just wasn't. We didn't decide it was worthy of being any more than a 7. out of 10 as an
But a
episode.
7 out of 10 is
It's
still
still,
good.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's not even bad.
The Star Beast, like, I gave
Yeah,
it a 7.
it's like nothing's been bad or okay. Like, they've all been good or great. And
It's the most excited I've been for Doctor Who in a while.
yeah, but it's like
You know.
for Christmas to score what I think is quite high for a Christmas story.
Yeah, and you know,
You don't want it to be, as we said in the last video, like, you don't want the Christmas story to be heavy and dark and a lot of concentrating and a lot of work just to get through the episode. You want it to be light and fun, engaging for everyone watching it, and have a little bit of a light story, and in this case, have a bit of backstory to the main characters to really introduce them going forward, especially as they're going to be running this show from here on.
Yeah, and I think, you know, what's nice as well is that Doctor Who feels like it's back in, not necessarily as big as it was, but a lot more people are talking about it and watching. Like, when I went home and saw some of my mates from school, even they were like, oh, I watched Doctor Who when it was back on the other week, and they haven't watched Doctor Who in years.
Yeah, even my brother's gotten back into it. Like, he struggled with it after Matt Smith.
Yeah.
I think it was halfway through Series 6, my brother clocked out.
Yeah, I mean, lots of people have clocked out at different places and stuff, but, you know, for me, I haven't ever clocked out of it because I always want to know what's going on with it and stuff, but
It has been
it's
tough.
no secret that the Chibnall era wasn't for me. I'm not, you know, I don't want to sit here and slate it because there are
We've
plenty of
done
people
that.
that do enjoy it, and we did a big, this time last year actually, reviewed every episode in a tier list, but there are things that just didn't work for me, and that's okay. You know, not everything is, I can't sit here and expect everything to always work for me just because I really like Doctor Who. It's not feasible.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's back up to, this is the most excitement I've felt since probably the 50th, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, I've always
man.
been excited. I've always looked forward to new Doctor Who and stuff, but this is like, wow, this is
Yeah.
fresh, but it feels like proper Doctor Who, but it's still not just harking back and doing the same old thing. It's still very new.
Yeah.
You know, and that goes down to these two, you know. Do you know what I mean? They feel like a cohesive TARDIS team.
Yeah, and we didn't even see the TARDIS at all, pretty much, for the episode at Christmas. You have a little trip back to save Ruby
Yeah.
and save Davina McCall, and
Like-
that's the only time you really see the TARDIS do any used for anything, other
Yeah.
than just sitting there.
Well, I'm sure, you know, we'll get round to it.
I'm not complaining. I quite liked it because it's nice to have a TARDIS light episode. Like, it's nice to have a Screwdriver light episode. Like,
Yeah.
it's so the Doctor has to work things out on his own for a bit.
Exactly, 100%. That's basically it for 2023. And I mean, like, for next year, this is obviously, if you're watching this now, you'll have seen that this has been episode 1 of,
Yes.
you know, we're doing a Doctor Who and going back to number 1 because we're doing, you know, like we've said a couple of times now, our format. We've got a review coming next week, which will be a bit of a surprise. It's a randomly selected. We're going to do one classic series and one new series review each month with a sort of more lucid discussion like this in between, where we just sort of bounce ideas off each other and see what sticks.
Yeah.
But I've got to ask you, do you have a Doctor Who highlight from this year? It doesn't necessarily have to be the episode. Do you have anything fun?
Mostly just the show being back. It was
fair
a very long drought, and I remember coming over here with such excitement to watch the Star Beast and hearing the new theme as well, seeing the new title credits at the start of the show. Just loved it. Yeah, I just loved Doctor Who being back on the screen. I felt like a kid again. It was great.
That's fair.
What about you?
I think for me, it's got to be Comic-Con. Like, that was such a massive, like, I've never had such a sort of, like, I'm quite good at talking to people. You know what I'm like. I'll talk to anyone. But when I saw go into that room and you know, directly opposite you was Paul McGann, Peter Davison, Sylvester McCoy, and Colin Baker, you're a bit like, whoa, this is quite mega. I mean, you know, the autographs there and the photo and everything. It was, you know, it was a sort of, that photo is a very treasured thing now because that's not something that happens every day.
No.
And it's not something I can afford to do every day either. That's a very expensive photo.
Yeah.
But it was worth it because, you know,
You look how happy you are as well. Like,
I was absolutely buzzing all day. I came back and I almost had like a sort of I came back and I was quite lethargic and I was like almost burnt out in a way, but in like a really good way because I knew I'd had such a good day and like excitement was just up there. The only thing that was horrible was the food, but that was a really, really good day. I mean, you know, just the whole like vibe of it, you know, meeting people that I've spoken to on Twitter and stuff and saying hello to different people and, you know, just walking around and soaking in the really nerdy atmosphere. So yeah, that was a really good.
It was on this year in Cardiff. I'm definitely going to go.
Oh, we'll definitely do it again. 100%. 100%. My next question is very self-indulgent. Do you have a favourite video that we did this last year? Because we've had a few crackers, to be fair. Like, this has been good fun.
Only for the line in the last bit of the video that I hadn't seen before, I'm going to go with the first adverts video. Just because of how... just because of that one line. It just broke me. I wasn't expecting it, and those adverts were hilarious.
The advert video was...
Like, keeping it away from reviews and actual Doctor Who itself content, like as a fun video. That was great.
I mean, showing you stuff that you hadn't seen before that I knew was going to make you laugh, but watching you listen to some of the music that we did way back in, like, I think it was February, March time, where I showed you the Dalek Christmas song, and you absolutely wet yourself. I think that was hilarious, to be honest. I mean, I've enjoyed loads of this. You know, we've had... Even now, he's gone. He's gone.
Oh, I've got the one of Strax singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and he goes, it's a tactical disadvantage because now I can punch you in the face in the dark. It's just, what the hell?
But, yeah, I think if I had to pick a favourite... You know, I really enjoyed our little Guess Who game that we did.
Oh, that was fun.
Because although that was a pain in the neck to edit on my tiny little laptop, that was very good. It was so funny.
That card of Adric.
Available now from all good retailers. It's not, and it never will be. But no, I think all that's left for us to say now to close out this new year is to thank a lot of people. I mean, I'm going to be very self-indulgent. I'm going to thank a couple of people. Evie, my partner, who's done the logo for this. Thank you very much, because I would never have been able to do that on my own.
God, no.
A couple of people, T, Alexi, for a bit of help with technical things here and there. And just sort of going, does this look okay? Does this look alright? My dad for doing these. Every single person that has ever liked, watched, commented, shared, responded to me on Twitter, anything like that. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And finally, thank you, my friend. Because there have been times where I wanted to pack this in this year, and you have been an absolute gem in terms of just keeping me motivated. And you know, you've been there at the drop of a hat when I've gone, could you just nip to the shop and get this for...
Yeah,
and
no,
stuff,
it's not a problem. Like...
And you come up here each week and everything, and it's, you know, it's not a long drive, but, you know, it's a drive. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
And to say thank you...
Oh, you haven't.
I got you a present. I ran out of wrapping paper.
I had noticed.
I thought, because you're quite bad at handling your drink, I thought I'd get you...
Oh, wow! Oh, I can get some port for tonight.
Do you want to... Yeah, it's a nondescript blue fizzy alcohol drink.
Yes. Okay.
There is another present, but yeah, it's not here.
No, that's fair. I was going to say, I feel really bad because I left my present at home this morning. I left in a bit of a rush when we said we were going for food.
He said this last year.
Yeah. Like, genuinely, I got... yeah. I'll get it. I'll get it within the next up. On my
He's
life.
going to Amazon Prime that.
On my life.
This is literally on video now. This is basically a signed contract.
Yes.
But no, seriously, thank you, and we hope you have a lovely new year. We'll be back with our review of
a random
Are we
episode.
keeping it still secret? Yeah, we'll keep it secret.
Yeah, we'll keep it secret. Yeah,
we'll be back next week with a review of a randomly selected story.
I can't remember because the first episode we randomly chose was too long, really, for us to actually have the time to sit down and watch it.
Oh yeah, you weren't getting an Ambassadors of Death review next week.
No,
but yeah, we'll be back. And
I don't even know what was chosen instead of that, to be honest, because you never said. But you know, we move.
It's in the spreadsheet.
Is it?
Yes.
I'll have a look.
Chaos as always. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. Thank you all very much. Please remember to like, share, and this video and comment if you enjoyed it. Yeah,
and subscribe.
And subscribe. That one.
The big important one.
Yes, let's go get drunk.
Okay. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
We're going to go and get steaming.